Hi there. I'm so glad that you're here today because I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to talk about using art to change the way we think about science and engineering, and I'm going to challenge each of you here today to use your creativity to make a positive impact on science literacy. And here's why. In 2012, the National Science Foundation discovered that 26% of the people in their survey answered incorrectly when asked if the Earth goes around the sun. Really? That's 83 million people in the United States who don't understand this basic fact. 83 million people. Copernicus is probably spinning in his grave. So what can we do about this? Well, we could roll our eyes and complain that reality TV is dumbing down society. We could say that our public education system is failing. We could blame our schools, our teachers, our lazy students, or their disconnected parents. Or we could take it upon ourselves to do something about it. Now, you might be saying, okay, what can I do? I'm not a teacher. I'm not a scientist. That's okay. You don't have to be. Let me tell you about my build crew. We build large-scale interactive art that's designed to get people excited about science. We are the Desert Wizards of Mars, a group of ordinary people with extraordinary passion. The Desert Wizards of Mars is the brainchild of Charles White. Charles works at the Jet Propulsion Lab, and he was dismayed when he heard the results of the NSF study. And he thought to himself, you know, something's not right. The way we engage people with science just isn't working for everyone. Maybe there's another approach. He decided he was going to build a replica of the Mars Curiosity rover and take it to Burning Man, with the idea of exposing people to the tangible results of science and engineering. Almost immediately, he had a group of artists, builders, and makers gather around and make this happen. The rover was built and on the playa in less than a year. The Desert Wizards, Desert Wizards defied the idea of what's possible when you get creative people together. In just 3 years' time, we built 3 major art projects: the Mars Rover art car in 2013, Black Rock Observatory in 2014, and Interstellar Emissary in 2015. Each of these projects was dreamed up, funded, and built in less than a year's time. As I said, it's a group of very passionate people. The crew comes from a variety of backgrounds, and we have 2 things in common: our enthusiasm and our love for space. Everybody on the team is equally valuable, whether you're the engineer who programs the LED lighting, or the sewing expert who created our costumes, or the person standing over the grill cooking for the rest of the team. Everybody is important. Even our littlest member, Scarlett. Scarlett joined the build crew when she was 2 and helped build Black Rock Observatory. Even at that young age, she was able to understand that the wooden pins that hold the observatory together needed to be hammered in at exactly a 45-degree angle. It's pretty impressive to teach someone that age something like that. When pulling together a crew, you want to remember that everybody has something to contribute, and you don't want to pigeonhole people based on preconceived ideas. What do you think of when you hear the title Planetary Scientist? Let me tell you about Steve Vance. Steve is a planetary scientist who specializes in Jupiter. It's easy to imagine that a person with a PhD in Jupiter, of all things, is probably a brainiac, and he maybe is reserved, studious, and maybe a little bit overly serious. Steve is very serious about his work, but he also defies a common conception that we have about scientists. Steve's art project is Interstellar Emissary, and it's a tribute to the golden record on the Voyager spacecraft, complete with LED lighting and sound files. This piece is really great at dance parties. And it also opens conversations. People look at this and say, what are these symbols? Why do I hear these people talking in different languages when I push this button. What's going on here? Steve's a serious scientist, but he's also a creative artist. He found a way to get people to ask him questions. He defied a stereotype, the one where we think that people who are really smart don't know how to have fun. Tom Varden is an amazing photographer, and his true passion is astronomy. He's not a scientist or an engineer, but he has a deep love of space, and he built Black Rock Observatory and took it to Burning Man to show the nighttime sky to thousands of people. Designed by architect Greg Fleischman, the observatory fits together like 3D puzzles, and it's been taken apart, relocated, and reassembled at numerous events, including a middle school campout at Joshua Tree National Park. What do you do when you have thousands of people who want to look through your telescope? To keep them from getting bored, Tom brings along his 4.5 billion-year-old meteorite and passes it around, lets everybody touch it, ask questions, feel the weight of it. It's been an amazing tool. I learned something really important when working with Tom. Tom taught us that we are better teachers when we don't push people away. We discovered out in Deep Playa that a lot of people don't know the difference between astronomy and astrology. And that's okay. Tom saw this as an opportunity. When someone would come up to him and say, "Oh, hey, you're the telescope guy. Let me tell you about my Zodiac sign." He would say, "Okay, hey, that's really cool. What's the ruling planet for that sign?" And then he would tell them something amazing about their planet, take them over to the telescope, and then show them the rings of Saturn or the polar ice caps on Mars. This was an opportunity to teach. Tom broke a stereotype for those people, the one where they thought science is too hard and something that only those other people can do. We wear orange flight suits because they're fun and also because they attract attention. Mark was standing out by the Mars Rover, and this guy just rode up and started a conversation. People love space. People love NASA. People love astronauts. So when you look like one, it's an opportunity to talk to people. This is Tina at a science Olympiad in California with the Mars Rover art car, and she's showing a student how to work a flame effect. Here's a tip for you. Students love flame effects. Use fire and you'll get their attention. And we do this not just so that we can build stuff and drop knowledge on people. That's an important part of it. But another part of it is the crew actually acquires numerous skills in order to make these projects happen. Things like welding, woodworking, electronics, programming, lighting, fire safety. All of these are important parts of what we do. Oh, and did I mention that these go together like 3D puzzles? This is where we honed our teamwork skills, because putting this together in the middle of a hot desert, we really had to learn to work together. So why do we do this? Because an unusual experience is memorable. Nobody forgets the first time they looked through a telescope. This is a way to reach people. Art can draw people into the sciences and reach them on a visceral level. Tom is famous for rallying the crew and saying, "Okay, people, let's go blow some minds today." And he really means it. People get excited about science. They want to engage with science, and this is why we do what we do. Because maybe through this art, we might be able to inspire somebody to think differently, to think critically, to learn something new. This image is why we dare mighty things. This image of Tom with the excited children. So I challenge you to join us. I challenge you to blow some minds. And I challenge you to dare mighty things. Thank you.